to roll the dice. By chance they came on Devil's Game, and gosh, they paid the price. Paid the price.
Whenever you think of Cuphead, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Is it the fact that the game represents 1930s cartoons to an absolute beautiful visual medium? Or is it the boss battles and how they're some of the most unique in all of gaming? Or is it any other reason you have in mind? All are great answers, undoubtedly. But I think that one element that is absolutely crucial when it comes to thinking about Cuphead in general is the soundtrack. Now, the soundtrack for Cuphead in the regular game and in the DLC, the soundtrack is absolutely magical. It has one of the most magical and beautiful soundtracks that any game has ever made, period. I honestly consider it to be one of the best soundtracks in anything ever, honestly. The way it represents classic jazz from the 1920s and 1930s is truly a true spectacle. And it has such a unique charm, and all of the soundtracks from any of the bosses, levels, credits, or anything like that is always something new and unique and special. All the music in this game is filled with an upbeat tempo, a really fast, jazzy sounding tune to it, or it can be very beautiful and melancholic, something that really is a nice serenade to your ears. The variety of the soundtrack in this game is absolutely stunning. Now, I have my fair share of tracks that I think are undoubtedly my personal favorites, like I absolutely adore the main theme of Don't Deal with the Devil. I love the iconicness of the introduction theme of the opening cutscene, the DLC themes like the main theme, Triumphant Trio, and so on. But lately, I have been listening to a specific track from the DLC specifically, and it's mainly about a specific boss fight as well, that not only has it become my favorite boss fight in the entire game / DLC, but the soundtrack in particular is the reason why I wanted to make this video, because I believe that this track perfectly summarizes what not only the boss fight is about, but also some of the biggest inspirations and ideas that Cuphead is paying homage to. And this is why I think this specific track, and technically boss fight as well, is absolutely genius. And that is Moonshine Mob's Bootlegger Boogie. Now, this boss is meant to be a giant reference to the fact that this game takes place during the 1930s, and during this time period, it was the outbreak of the Great Depression, obviously, but at the same time, this was also when the 18th Amendment was also still in action, meaning that alcohol was majorly prohibited in many areas. And when this happened, many people started to form speakeasies, which, if you don't know what they are basically hidden bars that are hidden either underground or under different buildings or so on. So that way they won't be seen by the police. And the Moonshine Mob is a perfect example of this, since they are not only a mob, but the whole area is, I believe, to be an underground speakeasy, since they secretly produce moonshine, hence their name as the Moonshine Mob. And what also makes this work so perfectly is the track, or at least the soundtrack, is meant to be a perfect reference to this whole inside joke that they're doing here. The track has a very jazzy, upbeat tone to it. It sounds like something you'd see in a speakeasy bar, and at the same time, you also have a beautiful female vocalist who I believe is Alana Bridgewater, who I believe also voiced King Dice in the original Cuphead game. She does some of the vocals in some moments of the track. Occasionally you'll hear her throughout this, and flappers were also a big deal throughout the 1920s, 1930s, and I believe even 1940s. And the addition of Alana doing this beautiful flapper addition to it adds on to it as well. Something I also really like about this track is it actually plays a crucial role in the fight itself. Now I'm pretty sure you're wondering, well, Max, doesn't every single track in this game revolve around the fight as well? Yes, you are right, but it's what this boss fight does with the music playing that I think makes it genius. So, midway during the fight, after you defeat Charlie Leftlegs, you end up fighting his wife, Madcap Maddie, and she has a music player that produces music. And with the music box, it ends up playing what appears to be music, but that music is the music you're hearing during the fight. And with this music box, it actually produces sound waves that eventually turn red, at least in some places that you'll have to avoid. But when they do that, it actually changes the tempo and pace of the song, meaning that occasionally you'll get a little bit of the song in a bit of a higher pitched tone before going back to regular. This, I think, is a genius idea, because that means that the music you're hearing throughout the fight is coming from this music player, which means that it's absolutely crucial to the fight as well, and ends up aiding it even more, making it even better and making you stay even more on your toes, making sure you don't take damage from this. This is absolutely genius, and honestly, if we ever do get more content for Cuphead in the potential future, hopefully, I'm hoping that if we ever get more boss fights, they use this idea more where they integrate the music into the actual fight, making it become just as much as importance as the actual fight itself. This is another reason why I believe Bootlegger Boogie is so genius, because not only is it paying 100% accurate homage to what it's meant to be referencing, being flappers, speakeasies, alcohol prohibition, all of this combined makes this track one of the most unique, crucial, and important soundtracks of not just the DLC, but also the entire game altogether, because it also adds to the uniqueness of this game. It shows that this game and DLC is not afraid to get unique and get new with its ideas. And when it comes to Cuphead, that's absolutely critical, considering how Cuphead has become one of the most inspiring, imaginative worlds that gaming has ever seen. And when we get new ideas where they actually integrate the soundtrack within the boss fight itself to make it just as important as the actual fight and characters itself, it makes the boss fight stand out even more and makes it become more timeless as it goes on, because fans will look back at this and think, oh yeah, this boss fight integrated the soundtrack in it. Lots of boss fights I've seen in video games nowadays don't do that. Hence why I believe that making the soundtrack be integral to the actual boss fight is another reason why this soundtrack stands out so much. There are quite a few other things that the soundtrack does really well at. The overall performance of the musicians and all of that, with its perfect accurization of like speakeasies and jazz, like I mentioned earlier, is absolutely spot on. It legit, again, like I mentioned earlier, makes it feel like you're in a classical 1920s bar, watching flappers perform, getting a beer, drinking with your friends. All of that fused together. It's absolutely beautiful. And again, the vocals by Alana Bridgewater, who I believe was the vocalist for this track. If I am wrong, please let me know in the comment section below. But if she did do the vocals, not only is it a nice way to bring her back, especially considering how, again, she voiced King Dice in the original game, but her vocal range is absolutely stunning. It sounds like she was having a total blast when making this, and it really does show. Like on Studio MDHR's YouTube channel, they have uploaded a few examples of their entire music crew working on different soundtracks for the game. I believe there was Floral Fury, Bacon the Wonder Tart, and a couple of other examples either shown in the 6th anniversary update or on the official Nintendo channel, where they uploaded a exclusive video showing the making of a specific track from the game or DLC. And I can just see how much work, time, and effort went into this, and I can tell that the crew itself had a lot of fun working on this, and you can just see that they were pouring their soul into it, which again makes not only this track but also the entire soundtrack from the game and DLC be one of the most unique soundtracks that gaming has ever seen, both in its accuracy to its 1930s homage, its tone, its vocals in some tracks, its accuracy, everything. But I wholeheartedly think that what Bootlegger Boogie does with its soundtrack, making it crucial to the fight, its homage, its accuracy, its overall fun, upbeat, bouncy pace to it, everything is why I wholeheartedly think that the Moonshine Mob as a whole and Bootlegger Boogie is nothing short of genius. And it's also why I've become so fascinated with the Moonshine Mob itself, but also how Bootlegger Boogie has become my absolute favorite soundtrack, at least out of the main DLC bosses. It may not be my favorite soundtrack from the game or from the DLC itself, but it is definitely in my top 5 for sure. And no matter what happens, I will always come back to listening to it no matter what.